So I've received an overwhelming amount of requests to solve this guy layer by layer. And I'm actually glad to hear that, because when you do it by reduction, maybe it's faster, but it's a little more, well, cumbersome trying to put all the pieces in. There's something about a layer by layer that just seems a little more organized with that. So I'm going to go ahead and do it that way. And we'll see how each layer fits together. Now I've taken it to solving the center, the first center here, the green center, and I've put in these edges over here as well, just to kind of get started with. The technique of putting in the first center is much like any other cube. And to be honest with you, with a layer by layer approach, this is the most cumbersome part, putting in the first center. So I thought I'd spare you that. But in any case, I put these edges in, and what I'm going to do, as with any layer by layer approach, is I solve the edges here. This is the only actual reduction that I'm doing here. So I've got the green and the yellow. I'm just finding every other green and yellow. Like here's one over here. Move this to the side. And I'll tell you, the movement of this puzzle is excellent. I mean, there's been no issues with it, no popping. There's been no defects with this either. I'm to understand that there's some defects in some early models with this. I'm not seeing any of that. Not yet, anyway. Move this in. I think I've even accidentally corner cut this a few times, but it's hard to imagine that something that looks so basic on the outside, on the inside is probably brimming with a lot of interesting, brilliant technology. Anyway, we're going to move this guy in. So now I just have the green and white edge. And again, this is the only reduction that's done is with this first layer here. So green and red, or green and white rather. Starting with this, that will be my nidus, and see if there's any other greens and whites that I can put in. Here's a green and white here, but I think I have to double turn it to put it right. Turn it here, and this guy comes here. Any other greens and whites? Nope. And there's one over here. This turns here, and I've got two to choose from. This turns into over here. So reduction on this puzzle would be quite cumbersome, so I'm very glad to have gotten this kind of a request. And turn. And take this here and turn it like so. So this makes the reduction part a little more tolerable, I think. And I highly recommend layer by layer, because in the next few layers it's going to get a little more challenging. The challenge of a big puzzle like this is really lost if you don't try something new, because it can become cumbersome. Okay, so this guy's going to come in. Move this down, it's got to go on the other side. And turn this over here. Okay, here's another one. Oop. This does belong here. And turn. Who would have ever thought that you can get a puzzle of this many layers to move so nicely? And here, so I've got another green one, and I can be done with the doggone reductive technique. This guy here. Double turn. Okay. So now we can move this in. And turn. Okay, let's see if we're lined up with our centers. Oop. There it is. Thought I destroyed it. This comes in here. Okay, so here's a yellow center. There's the yellow. This, actually, the orange one belongs here, so I've got to move this one away. Double turn this, bring it in, and double turn it here. This goes with the red, which is right here. This goes with the white, which is right here, and there it is. Okay, we're almost done with our first layer. So let's see if we can roll the corners in. Do the familiar RIDI-RD. Turn and turn. What makes a puzzle like this tolerable too is the ease of turning. Imagine having to struggle with each turn to get alignment. Obviously that doesn't happen with this. And up. And where's this guy going to go? Right here. Turn, turn. And this guy's going to go here. Turn, turn, and turn. Okay. So, here it is. First layer. Boy, if I hold it like this, it looks like the whole thing is solved. So we're done. Not exactly. So first layer is here. So what's the best way of doing the next layer? Well, the next layer is done with standard algorithms for the edge pieces here. Center pieces are all brought down from here. So this is going to take a little bit of doing. All of these guys can be brought down to here incrementally. So what if I move this like so? In addition, move this one in, or both of these. Well, is there two? No, there's one. So this guy in here too, move this down, and then move these two down. Just like that. Okay. Now why did I do that? Well, I did that because I moved a lot of layers down, but I'm separating out layers. That's the good thing about a layer by layer approach. So I swung these down. I'm now going to take this, swing it out of the way, and I've got all of these together, which will come down to this layer here to be hidden. Bring it over here. Now I'm going to take this back, and with this safely tucked in, move all these layers back up. It'll put back everything that I took out. So in so doing, you can see how it's so much less of a cumbersome kind of a solve. Now that I've done that, this is then moved back. I bring this back in here and move it down. So what I did is I put in all of these guys over here. Gads, what a beast. I'm going to keep following suit with that. There's nothing here to put in. How about these two? Well, this guy can find a home here. Turn this here. Anything else that can go in? No. Move it out of the way. I'm swinging this out of the way with whatever layer I put it in, and I'm just separating it out layers. So I'm moving whole sections in order to place things. And move it back. I keep looking for windows of opportunity. There's this guy here. I'm going to move this back a little bit. Okay. This comes here. Turn this like so. Here. Turn it back. Back. Turn. Turn and splat. Okay. Any other things that I can use? No, no, no. Okay, so I'll move on to here. How about whites? Give me a couple of whites that I can use. I've got 1, 2, 3 that I can use here. So these move down. This moves down. And upon doing that, I'm going to take this, bring it here, move it back down here. Now I'm going to put those layers back in. Over here and just bring all these layers back. Now I hope I'm getting all this on camera. If not, well, use your imagination. All right, this will come here. This puzzle loves to turn. Now, what else we got? We don't need this one. How about this guy over here? Nope, don't need that one. We can use this guy here. Turn, 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 and turn. Now what I might do is just kind of show the highlights of all these layers. You can see that this is really not a big problem. I'm just placing things. This can come down to here. This can, no, this doesn't have a place here. So one by one by one by one. Turn, 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 up, across, up, and through. Any other whites? Nope. And nope. Okay, let's move on to the red. I've got 3 here, of which 2, actually 3. I've got 4 that can find a home. 1, 2, 3, actually 3 that can find a home. Move this layer down, move this layer down, and move this layer down. Now, here's the problem with that, though. I don't have another layer. I can't use both last layers. If I use both last layers, I don't have anything to turn this layer into, so I'm not going to do that last one. If you like layer by layer, then that alone is a reason to get a large puzzle. Not because of doing yet another reductive technique, but just because it hones your skills at layer by layer, which is a different kind of a technique. So if you're looking for an excuse to buy this, buy it because you want to do a layer by layer approach. All right, now, oh, I have a whole nest of reds over here. And I can use almost all of them. This red can come down. These 2 reds can come down. And that's pretty much it. Okay. You see me pausing from time to time because I have to check and make sure that what I'm showing is on camera. Sometimes I get lost in the solve. And all you'll hear is my voice, but no puzzle. And what fun is that? Okay. Someone made mention that the pillow shape means you can't do a tap recalibration. Not recalibration, but a tap resetting, which is true. You can't. All right, any other reds that I can make use of? No, no, and no, so move on. Yellows, I got a nest of yellows here. I can put this one in and this one in, so there's 2. Turn, turn. This goes down here. This goes here. Turn, bang, splat. Come on, you beast. Zoom, clunk, ugh. Okay. Wouldn't you know it, just one yellow that I can use here. Every little piece is just as important as the rest. Turn, 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 and turn. Splat. Okay, how we doing? Nope. Wouldn't you know it? I got one here that I could use. So second layer's coming along. Mostly this is just to show the movement of this puzzle. It's about as good as you can ever anticipate. I can't imagine this moving any better. And the designer must have been incredibly brilliant. Oh, I got one here. So yellow is cooperating pretty well. and turn. Okay. So moving on with our second layer, I'm at the point where there's just a couple more with each one. Another way that I can do this is to get this middle one here. If you could see that, I could borrow it from up here or borrow it from somewhere here. And if I borrowed it from here to get this into here, then I can actually orchestrate a exchange from here to here, here to here, and here to here. And that's by just moving this up in this plane here. That way I can do it in just one commutator as opposed to two. Bring this up here. Now this comes up so that this red can occupy that slot. This comes down, and on cue, this one is in. I probably could have done that a little bit more here, but it was hard for me to visualize where each piece goes. Okay, so this is good over here. Now this, where's this going to come from? Well, if I take it from this area here, it's going to be, well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 in. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to look for the yellow one that occupies this slot. See if one such exists, and aha! It does. So basically I'm going to take this, move it up. This is like the last two centers of any large cube. It's a quick commutator that moves three pieces around and down here. Okay, so that's in. Orange, I can find any middle orange here. See if I can find it. Turn this guy right over here. So this comes up here. Now, even if you don't have this puzzle, if you have any other kind of big cube, I encourage you to try to do it this way. Layer by layer is a nice break to the normal grind of reduction. Right, Noah? Right. Okay, and this comes down here. Okay, so this is now, what about the whites? Well, what goes in here? Will any of these? Looks like this one will. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all I've got to do is move this up, bring this across, move this up so that the white is in that slot, bring it down here, turn. Now the way that I'm doing this, you're going to find that I have to take frequent breaks because the way that I'm sitting is fatiguing my wrist. Anyway, okay, and now we've got the center portions here. The edge portions, this is the easiest of the edge portions on a layer by layer. All I've got to do is do the same algorithm that I would any 3x3. Let's see. Is there any one up here that can be done? That's already on the end. Well, here's a yellow and orange, which goes here, but this is the wrong way. This is the wrong direction. White and red. Let's see if I get lucky with this, and I do. So this can come down to here, and this is the same algorithm. Just going to do this real quick. Turn, turn. Because this is actually moving the entire edge down, but I just care about this over here. So now this is down. All right, so let's see what else we've got. None of these will do. This one we already checked out. This one won't do. And this one is a potential contender, and it works too. So this will come down here, but I'm actually taking this whole edge and moving it down here. U, R, UI, RI, UI, FI, U, F. Now you saw me, and there it is over here. You saw me kind of struggle a little bit with alignment, but it really wasn't that much of a problem. Despite that, all the pieces were very stable. It didn't feel like any of them were going to pop at that time. But it's easy to see that you have to work a little bit on alignment, but it really was not a big issue with stability. This one, well, it's spoken for. Okay, so if we're in a situation where we can't find it up here, oh, this one popped into place. So U, I, L, I, U, L, U, F, UI, FI, or something like that. And every time we do that, we place another one up here that we might be able to use. So this one we can't. How about this one? This is new. And I'm getting all kinds of lucky because now this can come down to here. So turn, 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 and down it goes. Okay. Now, to those who may be seeing this for the first time, I think we got it all in. Yeah, we got it all in. So, second layer is done. Anyway, to those who are seeing this kind of puzzle for the first time and think that it's incredibly difficult to solve, what I'm saying is that if you can solve a 4x4 or a 5x5, you can solve this. It's really just more a matter of doing it. So the second layer, with the second layer, I'm going to put the edges in first because I'm going to have to do a different kind of an algorithm. I can't do a whole edge swapping algorithm because I'm going to take this out. So I got to do a different one to put this one in. And when I put that one in, by putting this one in, it'll take out some of the centers. So for example, it's going to come from here or it's going to come from over here. Let's see if there's any here. Well, this is blue, so that won't do. This is blue, so that won't do. Here's an orange and white, so this can actually come down to here. So to pop this into here, it's 2 up. We go, because it's 2 in, we're not just going to grab this one, we're going to grab this one over here. So we go 2 in because this is 2 up. This is our second one over here. And the algorithm here, R to U, RI, U, R to U, RI. Then we'll do a 2U, R, UI, RI. And what that did is it popped this one in here. So I'm going to keep going around and putting edges in like that. So here's an example. Well, I thought this one, but no, it's got to be this one. This is one that we want to put in. So let's keep tooling around. Where are some other possibilities? Here's a possibility. This one does not go in. This one might. Yeah, this goes to here. So it's going to be the same thing. So to do this, R to U, RI, U, R to U, gotta line it up here, RI, to U, R, UI, RI. And that's it. Almost got lost for a second. And we keep going, nothing here, nothing here, something possibly here. So let's tool this around. No, this is on the wrong side. That's got to be orange. Nothing here. How about this white and red? Nope. Except this one will be. So this. So now this is going to be in the L position. So we have LI to U, L, a UI rather, LI to U, L to U, LI, UI, L. Okay, and pops that in. This is an old algorithm I haven't used in a long time. How about this? Do we have anything here? Nope. Well, what do we have left? What we have left is, you can see this is in, this is in, this is in. I need the red and orange. Yellow, rather. This one, nope, the wrong one. If I don't find it up here, I gotta find it here. So it's actually this. So I gotta bring this up here. So I'm gonna do that by moving, well, this whole thing up. Now this algorithm not only places what needs to be placed here, it keeps this where it is while affecting the rest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same algorithm, R to U, RI, U, R to U, RI to U, R, UI, and down. So if the calculations are correct, it should be up here somewhere. And it is right here. What do you know about that? So now we do the opposite in the L position. L to U. Actually, that was an LI, so now this isn't LI. UI. LI to U. L to U. LI. Bring this in and plop it down. Okay, now that I have that in, I'm going to follow suit and do the same thing here. And I'm going to see if I can put multiple pieces in. I've got 3 to choose from here. So this comes down. These 2 come down. And now I pull this off to the side. Pull this down. Bring this up. Up we go. Up we go. Across we go, and up we go, and splat. So now I keep finding others. For instance, this. But what if I put 2 in at the same time? This to here and this to here. I can do that. So I'm trying to maximize my productivity here. Oh. Well, let's try this. Yeah, these all will come in here real nicely. So this comes in, followed by this. Pull it out of the way. And like I say, despite the lining up that has to happen, it could pop more than it does. I'm pretty impressed by the stability. It's really an amazing puzzle. It really gives me the confidence that there's almost no limit to how many layers they can make and actually make a stable puzzle. You want the effort to be in the solve, not in the movement. Okay, anything else that we can use? Second layer here, nope. Anything here? Yeah, we can do this. Might as well. Move it in, turn, turn, and turn. This is a good way of testing all the layers of this puzzle. Now I look to see if there's any more. And nope, so now we'll move on to here. I've got 3 in a row that I can use. Why not? Don't want to challenge the puzzle too much. Turn. Move it out of the way. Turn it down. Bring it up. Now this whole thing moves up like so. And up we go. And turn. Okay, we're doing well over here. These 2 will find a home down here. Turn. Now, making use of the fact that this is not a supercube, which means that I have equivalencies of a lot of these centers. If this were a supercube, all that would mean is I have to be very specific on where I put things, because I'll have a specific color pattern, orientation, or shape. I don't have to worry about any of that with this. Thank goodness for now. And turn. Crunk. Okay, I think that's it for this color for now. So, on to the whites. Do we have a bunch of whites that we can put in? I got a whole section of whites here. So let's see what I can use. I can use this, put this in. I can put these 2 in. And I can put these two, but I can't put this one in because I'm going to need this layer. So I'm just going to put this in. Now with all of that, I'm going to come over to here and I'll put this layer down here. So I have to remember what I did. That's why I couldn't put the other one in, because I would end up using up the layer that I just used. Now it's just a matter of putting these layers back. I keep this one out because that's what I have to move back in. This was a layer that I was actually populating with my colors. And turn, and done. Okay, what else do we have? We've got this. Okay, rather not move them one by one if I don't have to, but it looks like I have to. It just makes for a longer solve. But still, to me, less cumbersome than the reduction. Turn, 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 crunk. Sound effects are optional, but I highly recommend them. This one, turn, down, turn, and across. So you see how easy it is. Now it might get a little tricky as we start putting edges in with the top layers. As a matter of fact, it's going to get a little tricky. Let's see how I get out of this one. We can put this one in now. Turn. 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 So you see we're taking as much of the white as we can. Any other whites that we can do? Any other that we can use? And the answer is no. Now we could start to do what we did before. Like what if I wanted to borrow one of these and put it in? So it's going to come into here. It's going to be the second layer, so it's going to be somewhere here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's in here, so it's going to be this area over here. Let's see if we can find something like that. No? And yeah, so this. So when I see this, I can just do my algorithm to place it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and now move this up, like so. Move this across here. Replace it with this guy over here. Move it across, down. Move it back, swing it down. So that places it. Well, that's kind of fun. Let's practice with that again. Now across here, what can come into here? They're going to be at the top, so it's going to be along here. It's going to be this guy. So let's just quickly scout around and see if we can find one. No, no, aha! This one will do. So knowing that these two are going to cycle, this will come to here. If you can see that, this will come to here and this will come to here. So we're going to move this up, or here rather. I move it up, move it across. Now bring this up so that this can replace it into that slot. Move it down. This brings it down. Bring it back. And bring it down. So you can see it places that just fine. I should be able to flip this to here by moving this to here, this to here, and this to here. So pull this up like so. Take it up to here. Now pull this up just next to it. Pull this down. I'm not even saying the algorithms because we've kind of moved beyond that. We're just placing and down. And sure enough, bingo, there it is. So let's work the same kind of magic here. This will come up to here. When you turn it, it'll come up to here. So it's going to be the one that's just over here. So this is already placed. This will cycle into here. So we move this up. You can see this is the slot that we want. Bring this to this side. Move this up so that now this is occupying this slot. Move this across, bring it down, and I'll move this back to bring this down. Splat. See how easy? And we have one more for this layer, which is this guy. If I were to 3 cycle, I can. I just need to find one right up here. If we get one there, we're doing well. Aha! So I can do a quick 3 cycle by turning this like so, moving it here, turning this up, turning it back, moving this down, turning this across, bringing this back down, making it whole again. Okay, so here we have our second layer is done, or third layer rather. First, second, third. Third layer is done.